Hello and welcome to another episode of Stock Shots. Please remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion based on some things I see, like support and resistance, supply, demand, and of course, some indicators that may be on the screen. So always do your own due diligence. Make sure you educate yourself and always look to the left because we're looking at things that have already happened to think about what things may do in the future. So this is another episode of Stock Shots. Welcome.
All right, here we go. We're getting started with the C fund to get started. And if you notice, we have a doji candle for this week. So if you, like me, I got back in on this candle here, like that. So when I got in, hey, I made some profit, didn't lose anything. If you got in back here, I know you're happy as well. Now the question is, what's going to happen here? So we had a candle that did not close above our previous week. Now, what I want to do because of this candle is indecision. So what I will do is I'll look at my indicators, but first I'm going to go into a daily view. If you notice right here, there's a gap. Now it's hard to see in the weekly view. So what we're going to do is go into the daily. In the daily view, you'll notice the gap is right here in this area, and it's from 5100.98 down to approximately 5076 or 5077, around that area. So look here, we're still in an uptrend. Even though we have this candle here, this is usually a signal for a downtrend. So let's look in the past. Let's see what happened. So here, let's get our arrow, handy dandy teaching tool. We got a bearish candle, took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't take this out yet. And if you notice, there's a very small gap here in the daily. So what I want to do is I'm going to draw another line here in the daily. Now what could happen, this is not a definite. What could happen is right here in this area, we could get a, there we go. We could get a quick pullback, hit this to fill this area and then push up. Could that happen? Maybe. Let's look here. Bearish engulfing candle. A bullish candle going up, not going above the start of the bearish candle. Then you got a couple. So if you start seeing this same type of pattern, bearish, slight bullishness, bearish, 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 and you're still within this candle range, you are getting warnings that you may be going down again. All right, now here's the other thing I want you to be wary of. Currently we're at about, for strength of the market, about 64.5, right? The last big push was here. That was on our last biggish bullish candle, and that was approximately like 71. Yeah, back here, our biggest push up was approximately 68. So the market isn't super strong considering where it was at its last high. There is not divergence at this point, but if you notice, it's barely, there we go, it's barely higher, very much the same. This could be a start of something that could be bearish divergence. But let's look in the weekly and see if we have that. And here in the weekly, you do have it. So I bring it closer so you can see it. Here was the last time we had a really high, and that was at about 80 or 79.75. We're currently at this for our last high, and that's at 68. So we have weekly bearish divergence. What does that mean? Well, let's look and just be completely honest. If we're going to do another pullback, what letter pattern are you looking at? Will we have this or that? So essentially we're looking at an M pattern. We're getting some clues that may be what's happening. You can't front run this, meaning I'm not going to just pull out of the C fund right now because I see that I have a M pattern that could be forming. I'm looking at it to see, is it going to form? So if I happen to see in the weekly or the daily, I'll be looking at the daily time frame now. If I have a bunch of candles that cannot close below this, all right, I'm going to still be kind of bullish. But in the daily, if I'm looking at that red candle, if I'm looking at this candle in the daily, and I get a couple candles that are still in this area, and then I get one that hits here, then goes up, I might still be bullish. But if I get something that start closing below this candle, and that literally means to me 52.60.97. If I get candles that close below that, I'm going to start saying, all right, I might be getting the start of that M pattern, and I may go into the G fund. But that's just for this one. So we've covered the C fund. Let's look at our next one, which is going to be the S fund. All right. Same thing almost. I mean, I'm seeing the bearish divergence here and here, but I'm still in the buy zone, and it's been the buy zone for both the S and the C so far. I'll look at if it comes down, all right, and it does this, come to this 50 line here in my indicator, and then bounce up. Hey, no harm, no foul. At this point in the weekly, we have a close below our last bullish candle, but at the same time, it bounced off of our support here at 2017.64. All right, not horrible, not great, but not horrible. Let's look at it in the daily, get a smaller time frame. Maybe we can see more action here that can point us in a better idea of what's going on. We still got a bearish candle, just like in the C fund. This one has pretty much the same thing, just like in the C fund. Now, with this, we had our uptrend. So we had those pullbacks that are about 6% to 8%, depending. And we got to close below our trend line here. Then we have a push up off of support. That mirrors this in the daily time frame. That's why I'm still kind of bullish. Once again, I could be seeing an M pattern here. But is it going to do that? I don't know. And until I get confirmation, I'm still going to be bullish on this. Once again, I said, if it comes down here and bounces off of this 50 line here in my indicator, hey, I'm looking for it to continue up. Great. So right now, I'm still staying in. I'm going to wait for what this next week has to say. The Fed had some news that may, affect us, but I mean, it wasn't like they was going to take the interest rates away anyway, right? It was just too much news. Now, International Fund, that had a weekly bearish candle as well. But at the same time, this one has never really pulled back below that last bullish candle. We have a dip down, grab some orders, and going up. This one still looks very bullish. Now, in the weekly, it's looking great. Daily, same thing. We got a small gap down here at 78.50 to 78.30. All right, if something happens, I would look for it to come down here to our first 79.01 and then go down here, grab orders, maybe go down further to 77.48. But after that, I wouldn't be looking for anything else to come down further than that personally. If I was, it would probably be here to this area at 76.73. Like it could be a demand area here. Let's go on the weekly, see if we can see something better. Yeah, nah, 76.34 is probably where I would look at it. But at the same time, also, what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to turn our indicator on up here. Still in a buy zone, still in a buy trend. Let's go back to, let's see, the S fund. In the S fund, I started to sell. All right, it started to sell, but is it going to be a confirmed? So the reason I'm looking at this as, is it going to be a confirmed thing? Because this was a pullback. That's when the sell signal started. This is now the price action now is bouncing off of the 14 and the 9. Usually if price action bounces off of a 14-day moving average, that means you're probably going to get a lot of reaction off of that. It's probably going to be good reaction at that too. So it's going to be bullish off of there. Now, if we were in a downtrend and bounced off the 14, I'll be looking for, there we go. I'll be looking for a bearish movement. But currently, yeah, I'm still, look, I just got to buy in the weekly for our C fund here. So this could just be a slight pullback continuing up to where? Right up here, 54.49. You could just say 5,500, around that area. It's a little bit further up to 55, but essentially look for round numbers. But hey, at this point, we're going to go to the aggregate bond fund. And of course, we are still in a downtrend for that. Now, granted, the bond fund, it may start going up, because remember, the Fed said they're not going to be cutting interest rates, and if they do, it might just be one, versus like in the beginning of the year, I think they were going to give us like 6, quote unquote, supposedly. Now at this time, we're not sure. So essentially, count on nothing, and then that way you won't be surprised or unprepared. Because what we're looking for right now is a push past our next area of resistance, which is 96.89, up until we get to 97.54. That's our next area we're going to look at to break with some good volume. But currently the volume's going down, and it is now a red or bearish. But let's see if that's going to continue. At this time, let's see what it says here. Still in the sell zone, and it is now. This is the thing. This price action is now in between the 50, or I use the 48. So the 48 and the 14. So it's in between there. It's trapped. It needs to get some bullish or bearish movement to confirm the next move. Currently, it's saying, hey, you're probably going to get some bullish movement going up. Now, if it does, the top of the range right now will probably be about $97.30. Yeah, 97.30, 97.31 for the bond fund. If it breaks that, and it has to have good volume to do that, of course, we'd be looking for that 97.54. But at this time, I'm just going to be patient. I'm not even in the bond fund, so I'm fine. I'm cool with this. That's it for this week on Stock Shots, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.